Hello! Ladies and gentlemen, international break is not too far away, so of course, it's the perfect time to predict match days 5 and 6 for the Euro 2024 qualifiers. We've been doing this on the channel for quite a bit, but in case you're new here, I go over every single matchup that is happening this international break for the Euro qualifiers, give my score prediction, while also taking a look at how each of the teams have been doing so far. Of course, there might be information I may be missing on your squad. There's so many I have to go through, and obviously things can change, potential injuries and all that with certain players, so let me know your predictions as always in the comments below. Drop an early like, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. Starting off with actually a massive match, Finland versus Kazakhstan. Maybe on the surface it doesn't look to be so, but if you've been paying attention to this group, these two are tied with points at first at the moment. Absolutely nobody saw this coming, as everyone always expects more from Denmark, but Kazakhstan in particular is a massive surprise, as this side has truly never really been known for their footballing ability. I mean, they finished last place in the last Euro qualifiers, not getting a single win, also being in the same group as Finland. Their only loss in this Euro Qualifier campaign so far was on the opening day against Slovenia, which was a close battle as well, finishing 2-1. Right after that, they beat the group favorites Denmark, finishing 3-2 in an absolute thriller of a match. An incredible comeback as they were 2-0 down. They beat Northern Ireland narrowly after that, and of course they beat San Marino. This side is in fantastic form. Can they continue against Finland? Being at their home ground is definitely a massive advantage, as not only is the national team in high spirits, the fans are as well. The whole nation is behind them right now. Everyone is ecstatic for Kazakhstan to do well and qualify for the Euros. It's a genuine possibility, but can they keep it up? Obviously, Finland has been in fantastic form as well. They also beat Slovenia and Northern Ireland. The only team they failed to beat was Denmark, but that's no surprise. This one could really go either way. I'm gonna have to lean towards Finland though. Kazakhstan, please prove me wrong. I'm loving to see what this national team has been able to produce so far. They shouldn't be discouraged. In fact, they should be absolutely confident being on their own home ground, like I said. But I do see their fantastic form coming somewhat short to the end. They're gonna play well. It's gonna be close. I'm going for Finland winning this 2-1. But best of luck to both teams. Now for Lithuania versus Montenegro. Lithuania are notoriously known for not being much of a football nation. They haven't gotten a single win yet, and Montenegro have been putting off some decent fights. Their last result was 0-0 against Hungary, one of the favorites in this group. I'm gonna say I think they have what it takes to get a clean win away. They'll beat Lithuania 2-0. Now for Czechia versus Albania. It's gonna be an epic matchup, as Czechia are at the top for now with 7 points, but Albania are just behind them with 6. So potentially, we could see these sides flip positions. So far, Czech Republic are the only team to be undefeated in this group. They got a massive win against Poland at the beginning, then drew to Moldova 0-0. But to be fair, Moldova has been very surprising so far themselves. We'll get into them later. And then they demolished Faroe Islands 3-0. Albania's only loss so far was against Poland, where they lost 1-0 away. They defeated the impressive Moldova side 2-0 and also beat Faroe Islands 3-1. At the time of this recording, I'm not necessarily sure if Broja has been selected for the national team, but he is no longer injured. He was for quite some time. He could make a massive impact if he does play in this match, but I still think Czechia has what it takes to just edge Albania. I think it's going to be a close match where Albania just lose 2-1. Now for Poland versus Faroe Islands. Let's return to the impressive Moldova for a sec, as that's where Poland severely slipped. As we've just seen one of the craziest upsets in the last qualifier break, where Moldova made an epic comeback against Polska, beating them 3-2. One of the worst ranked national teams in UEFA beat Poland, who I believe are top 25 at the moment. So Poland now have to face another underdog in this group, and they definitely know that they can't slip up this time. Their new manager, Fernando Santos, who used to be Portugal's national team manager, is being heavily speculated, but also the players literally admitted that they weren't 100% mentally in the game against Moldova, as they were just dreaming about their holidays. Faroe Islands is another underdog that has made quite the headlines recently, but not for their national team, but for their best club team, Klaksvik, as they did just qualify for European football for the very first time. But this national team has also put off some interesting displays themselves, so if Portugal don't mentally sort themselves out, we could easily see them slip once again. But they're at home, and I think they know the poor position that they are currently in. So I'm going to say Poland's good form returns, and they get a solid win against Faroe Islands. Nothing massive, just 2-0. Now for Slovenia versus Northern Ireland. As I've already talked about, Finland and Kazakhstan in this group have the top spots at the moment. But Slovenia and Denmark are not too far off and are definitely in contention to still qualify for Euro 2024. Northern Ireland does not look to have the most solid chance, as their form has been quite poor. Their only win so far was against San Marino, and every other match they lost so far was a 1-0 defeat. So you know what, I'm going to say the same thing happens here. Slovenia narrowly get the job done against Northern Ireland. They once again lose 1-0 for the 4th time. Now for Netherlands versus Greece, we have a clear favorite here. However, it might not be as easy as it looks to call. Netherlands have not been the most convincing ever since Koeman took charge. They have some matches in hand to be fair, but they are currently second to last in their group right now because they played in the Nations League where they also bottled it there, losing to Croatia at the beginning on their own home soil, and then they lost to Italy 2-3 in the third place match for the tournament. Earlier in this qualifier campaign for the Euros, they did suffer a heavy loss to France 4-0, but to be fair, a lot of their players were battling illness at the time. Their only win so far in recent times and since Koeman took charge was against Gibraltar. Greece have been quite impressive. They beat Ireland head-to-head recently. They also only lost to France 1-0, while they were the away side, just losing to a Kylian Mbappe penalty. Unfortunately, in that same match, Mavropanos did get a red card, so he will be suspended for this fixture, and that is a big loss. But this side still have a lot of quality players, and they are making a redemption in the football scene. I think they could be back on track, and I wouldn't be surprised if they squeeze through against the mighty Dutch. Definitely the Netherlands are the favorites here. They're the home side, they have the better squad on paper, but I'm going to say the poor form continues, and Greece barely pull through. They grab a 1-0 win. I know it could be a long shot, but that is my potential upset for the week. Now moving on to Serbia versus Hungary, a massive battle between these two sides as they are the best sides on paper in their group. They also are shared with the same exact stats at the moment, apart from goal differentials where Hungary beats Serbia by 1. But both of them have 2 wins, 1 draw, and both of these sides, as we know, have so much quality on their team. Hungary with the likes of Szoboszlai, who has just transferred to Liverpool, Milos Kerkez, who just transferred to Bournemouth, then the 2 Juve players, Dusan Vlahovic and Filip Kostic, along with Alexander Mitrovic and Milenkovic Savic, who have just transferred to Al Hilal. This one's a flip of a coin. Anything's possible here. Also wouldn't be surprised if we see a draw, but I am going to favor Serbia winning this. I'm going to say they're able to beat Hungary at home 2-1. Mostly because I still got to back my initial prediction where I said Serbia will top this group. But regardless, I still see both of these sides qualifying automatically for Euro 2024. Now for France versus Ireland, we've already seen this matchup happen where Ireland just lost to France narrowly from a Pavard banger. Other than that, they held themselves very well defensively, and although Ireland don't look to be the best on paper in this group, they still have a young promising generation where despite the results, I still think they'll prove their talent in this qualifier campaign. But this is France, one of the best national teams in the world. I would love to see an upset here, but I'm sorry Ireland, I'm going to say France are able to win 2-0 at home. Now for Denmark versus San Marino, I'm sorry, but I gotta be brief with this one. I think Denmark will demolish San Marino. I'm gonna say San Marino lose 6-0 for the second consecutive time. Now for Georgia versus Spain. Spain started off poor in this qualifier campaign as they did lose to Scotland, but they probably regained their confidence at this point as they just won the Nations League. Georgia, as we know, have been impressing recently and they have a lot of quality individually. I think this will be a good fight for Georgia, but I'm saying Spain still edge them 2-1. Moving on to Luxembourg versus Iceland. Luxembourg definitely impressing at the moment as they have recently beat Bosnia. Iceland, along with Bosnia, are quite down in the dumps as they only have 3 points. 1 win and 3 losses. It's hard to call, to be honest, but if Luxembourg get a win here, that would be massive, as if Slovakia end up not getting points in this match day, they'll be tied on points with them. But I'm saying it's not going to happen. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw in this fixture. Moving on to Cyprus versus Scotland. We've already seen these sides face each other where Scotland beat them 3-0. Scotland have had a flawless qualifier campaign so far, at the top with 4 for 4 wins. I don't see them slowing down against Cyprus. I'm saying Scotland grab a 2-0 win away. Now for Bosnia versus Liechtenstein. Bosnia desperately need a win here. No offense to Liechtenstein, but if they lose here, that would be embarrassing. They're the home side. Farouk Hacibekic's return was definitely short-lived, and I'm not surprised. He did not even have the best record initially, so I don't know what they were thinking, sacking Ivailo Petev. With him gone, though, I think Bosnia can confidently grab a win here. I'm going to say they're able to win 3-0 against Liechtenstein at home. Moving on to Turkey versus Armenia. Still don't know how these sides ended up being in the same group, but they already faced each other. Turkey were away, and they beat them 2-1. That was the first match for both of these teams in this qualifier run. Armenia did bounce back, though, in the next international break, where they beat Wales 2-4 away and defeated Latvia 2-1. So their form and confidence has returned. They could make a comeback against Turkey, even if they're the away side, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for Turkey once again. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw, to be honest, but I'm still going to go for a winner here. Who knows? Turkey are one of the most unpredictable national teams, and they do sit at first at the moment. But hopefully, and I'm talking about Croatia's sake, they don't stay at the top for much longer. Croatia sit at third at the moment, but they did play less matches, as they had the Nations League to worry about. But now they're returning to the Euro Qualifiers, and they're going to be facing Latvia. A team you definitely shouldn't underestimate, but one you should still be beating. Croatia are the home side here, and I think they can get a solid win against Latvia. Luka Modric has announced he's staying with the national team. I'm saying they go all out and win 3-0. Moving on to Slovakia versus Portugal. If Slovakia get a win here, that would be insane, as they would grab first over Portugal, who have been absolutely killing it. They have 4-4 wins at the moment. Slovakia are also undefeated, but they did pick up a draw against Luxembourg on the first match day. Portugal under Roberto Martinez, though, have been cruising through this group, and I think it will continue, even against Slovakia, even if they're also undefeated. Slovakia did beat Lichtenstein, but only 1-0. Quite unconvincing. Yeah, Portugal are the easy favorites here. I'm going to go for them beating Slovakia 3-1. Moving on to Azerbaijan versus Belgium. Belgium's going to clean up here. Sorry, Azerbaijan. Even if you're the home side, Belgium are winning 4-0. I don't even mean to sound that confident. Anything's possible, but Belgium definitely should be winning this. Even with the Kevin De Bruyne injury and Courtois gone, they are still the heavy favorites. Now for Estonia versus Sweden. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an upset here. Estonia nearly pulled something off against Austria until Austria decided to pull their shit together. And Sweden have been in poor form. Besides beating Azerbaijan 5-0, they lost to Austria and Belgium, shut down by both teams, not being able to score any goals against them. I am going to say Sweden narrowly do it here. They win 2-1 against Estonia. Now for Andorra versus Belarus. Andorra looking for their first win. Belarus already got theirs. I don't think they're going to get it, though. I'm saying it's a 1-1 draw. Moving on to Ukraine versus England. Ukraine never seemed to get the best out of England, except for in Eurovision. They got slaughtered by them in the last Euro quarterfinals. In this qualifier run, they already lost to them as well. I'm going to go for an exciting match, though. Ukraine know that they have to pick it up, but England just show that they're too dominant. Ukraine loses this one, but it finishes 4-2. Now for North Macedonia versus Italy. Can Macedonia pull off another upset against Italia? We all know what happened in the World Cup qualifier playoffs. Macedonia could potentially keep their reputation and beat Italia's kryptonite. Will it happen though? Macedonia's form has not been looking the most convincing since then. They blew a 2-0 lead to Ukraine and then lost to England 7-0. The home fans are going to go crazy in this though. I'd love to see Macedonia do it again, but I don't think it will happen. I'm going for Italy winning this one 2-0. Now for Romania versus Israel. As I've stated, this is the group of life, and both of these sides are quite similar in the standings at the moment. Romania just above Israel, but only by 1 point. I'm going to say Romania keep their spot, but they don't win. It's going to finish in a draw, 1-1. And then the final match on match day 5. We still got match day 6 to go over though. Kosovo versus Switzerland. Kosovo was hyping up a ridiculous amount before the qualifiers began. They haven't been living up to the hype though. Some of their matches are close, but they shouldn't have lost to Belarus recently. The rest were draws, and now they're coming up against the best team on paper in the group. Even though they're the home side, Switzerland are winning this one 3-1, I think. I'm starting to lose my faith a little bit on Kosovo. I hope I'm wrong, though. All right, that's all on match day 5. Let's move on to match day 6, starting off with Kazakhstan versus Northern Ireland. I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrespect Northern Ireland, but they really just have not been playing the most convincing football, and Kazakhstan are in solid form. Maybe they'll drop, but they're at home. I think they'll be able to grab a 1-0 win. Now for Faroe Islands versus Moldova. The last time these sides faced each other, it finished in a 1-1 draw, and I'm going to go for a similar outcome. More goals this time, though. I'm going for 2-2. Now for Finland versus Denmark. If Finland are able to beat Kazakhstan in the previous match day, they will have the top by quite some margin. So they could be very motivated to beat Denmark at home, but I do think Denmark are going to rise from their shaky position at the moment. They really need to pick themselves up, and I think they will really push for the top now. I'm going for a Denmark 2-1 victory over Finland. Moving on to Montenegro versus Bulgaria. The last time they faced each other, Montenegro grabbed a 1-0 away win. I'll go for more goals this time. I'm saying Montenegro grab a 3-1 win at home. Bulgaria are not looking the most convincing. Now for Ireland versus Netherlands. I went for a bit of a shock last time saying Greece would be able to upset Netherlands in match day 5. Can another potential shocking result happen here? If Greece are not able to get any points against the Dutch, I wouldn't be surprised if Ireland do so themselves. But I do not see Netherlands slipping twice, so I'm going to say they're able to win here 2-0. Now for San Marino versus Slovenia. Yeah, sorry, San Marino. Slovenia are going to win this one. I won't say it's that brutal, but I'm going to go for 2-0. Moving on to Lithuania versus Serbia. No matter what happens in the previous match against Hungary, Serbia really should be winning this. I'll say they get a decent result here, 2-0 away. Now for Albania versus Poland, this one is tough. Of course, Polska are the favorites, but something tells me Albania won't go down easy in this international break. I said that they will lose to Czechia. They have a tough schedule ahead of them, but maybe potentially they could halt Poland here, especially if they're the home side. The last time they faced each other, it did finish 1-0 going Poland's way. And both these countries were in the same World Cup qualifier group as well, where Poland got the best of them both times they faced. I'm tempted to go for a draw here, but history simply suggests that Poland are going to win this. I'm going to go for a narrow 1-0 victory. Sorry, Albania. This is just a tough international break. I would love to see you guys prove me wrong. Greece versus Gibraltar. Let's keep it simple. Greece are going to win this one 4-0. Now for Armenia versus Croatia. I'm actually very nervous for this one. Will not be surprised if Croatia slip here. Armenia at the moment are looking like a confident bunch after getting 2 impressive wins in the last international break. At the moment they hold second, but that could obviously change depending on the result against Turkey versus Armenia and Croatia versus Latvia in matchday 5. Croatia desperately need a win here. And a lot of times, even when they look to be favorites, they love to keep the drama high and do it on the final match day. So could we slip here? Definitely a possibility. Of course, I'm going to be hopeful for my own national team. I'm going to say they scrape a narrow 1-0 victory here. Moving on to Latvia versus Wales. Wales beat them narrowly last time when they were the home side. And before that, they picked up a draw against Croatia. But in the last international break, they did slip in both matches. Despite Wales looking like the favorites, I think I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here, as I just don't see Latvia getting 0 points throughout this entire qualifier campaign. Now for Slovakia versus Lichtenstein, it finished 1-0 last time for Slovakia. I think they'll come out bigger this time. I'll go for 3-0. Portugal versus Luxembourg. It's the same story for Portugal in every explanation. They've been absolutely killing it. I don't see that changing here. Luxembourg, they definitely should be beating. I'm going to go for 2-0 for Portugal. Moving on to Iceland versus Bosnia. Bosnia got the best of Iceland last time around. But after that, their form severely dropped, as I mentioned. Faroe Hadzibegic sacked. Definitely that warm-up against Lichtenstein could prove a lot. Depending on how that matchup goes, will definitely sway my opinion on this, but I'll be hopeful for Bosnia and say they get the job done. I'll go for 2-1. Moving on to Spain versus Cyprus. Definitely should be an easy win for Spain. No disrespect to Cyprus. We'll love to see an upset, but I'm going to go for Spain winning this one 3-0. Now moving on to Switzerland versus Andorra. Again, I see this being very one-sided. I will go once again for 3-0. Taking a look at Romania versus Kosovo, I am starting to lose faith in Kosovo, as I mentioned. Romania do look to be leading the race in the group of life. Will they continue the form? At the moment, they're undefeated. We'll see how it goes against Israel, though. Last time these sides faced each other, it finished in a 0-0 draw. And I know I've gone for a decent amount of draws in matchday 6. I'm going to go for another. It finishes 1-1. Taking a look at Israel versus Belarus, I think Israel can clean up nicely here, especially at home. I will go for 2-0 against Belarus. Sweden versus Austria, a massive matchup. Austria got the best of them last time around, so Sweden will definitely be looking to make their redemption, as their form has not been brilliant so far. If they really want a solid chance to qualify for Euro 2024, they need to make an impact in this match. Despite having such a solid squad with the likes of Isak, Kulusevski, Forsberg, I still see Austria coming out on top. I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 victory. Ralf Rangnick is doing fantastic with this nation. Moving on to Norway versus Georgia. Every time I try to show Norway some belief, they crumble. No matter how well Erling Haaland is doing. I mean, against Scotland, as soon as he got taken off, they made a comeback. At the moment, both of these countries share the same amount of points. Norway are definitely looking to make a bigger gap between the two and top them as well. I do think that they will be victorious here. I am going to go for a narrow 2-1 victory. Moving on to Italy versus Ukraine. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here. Ukraine, yes, are in such a difficult group, but they usually have impressive qualifier displays. I don't know if they'll make it all the way through till the end, but I'm going to say that they scare Italia just a bit. Mudryk has seemed to find his form once again, especially with the national team. Moving on to Malta versus Macedonia. Last time Macedonia grabbed a 2-1 victory. I'll say they get another narrow victory, only 1-0 this time around. And finally, the last match we're looking at, Belgium versus Estonia. This should be a comfortable victory for Belgium. I'm going to go for 3-1. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are all of my matchday 5 and 6 predictions. As always, let me know yours in the comments below. Also, if there's any other information I missed for any of these matchups, of course, I'll be doing a follow-up reaction video to what I had to say. So make sure you don't miss it by subscribing to the channel. We're going to be covering the Euro qualifiers all the way through. And of course, by the time the groups are announced for the actual tournament, a lot of content will be out on this channel. So make sure you don't miss any of it. Thank you all for making it to the end. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Laku noć.